In my wildest dreams, I never thought something like this would happen.
We can't make exceptions to everyone or anyone, really.
Controversy in Valley Center involving a family trying to bury a loved one.
12 News reporter Brock Wilson explains why the family of a man who lived in Valley Center for decades was forced to pay extra to have him buried in the city cemetery.
Well, Mike, this all comes down to a city ordinance. Valley Center residents must pay a certain price to be buried in the cemetery, but if you don't live in the city, it costs more money. That's where the controversy begins.
It seemed kind of harsh to me.
Stephen Hipp's father, Emmett, died last Wednesday.
And that's when all the chaos began.
Stephen and his wife, Nikki, bought 4 plots in the Valley Center Cemetery for all their parents back in 2012. They live in Valley Center, and at the time, the plots were in their names, so they paid $200 to have Nikki's parents and Stephen's mom buried. But after Stephen's dad died, they got a call from the city
Saying that since Dad was not a resident inside the city limits, that they were going to charge another $800 for the plot.
Valley Center city ordinance states if someone lives outside city limits, they must pay $1,000 to be buried in the cemetery. So since Emmett didn't live in city limits, they had to pay the difference.
I mean, I understand the surprise, but I don't understand exactly how we as the city can go about getting the system changed.
Valley Center Mayor Jet Truman says he feels for the Hipps, but they're more unhappy about how the situation was handled. They weren't allowed to bury Emmett until the money was paid.
Well, it was kind of like extortion, a threat that he's not going to be buried unless they come up with the money before.
Or we have to bury him somewhere else and not next to his wife.
But the city says it can't make exceptions because the cemetery is funded with city taxes.
If you're out in the school district area, you're not paying the city taxes. I mean, it sounds like it's a money deal, but it's really not.
And the mayor says if people want the ordinance changed,
I would say bring it to your councilman, and we're not above looking at it again.
Now, Stephen and Nikki paid the extra money and had Emmett buried this morning. They and the city are both hoping their story will raise awareness and no other families will be surprised by any extra fees in the future.
Brock, thank you.